Spring 1260, CE the Syrian plains. The earth trembles before the hooves of 1,000 horses. From horizon to horizon, dust devours the sky, a brown storm driven by the Mongol horde. The wind carries the clang of iron stirrups, the low growl of command, and the cry of ravens following death's shadow. At the front rides Kitbuka Noyan, a hardened general under Hulagu Khan. His armor, dark as soot, bears the scars of cities burned from Samarkand to Baghdad. His eyes, narrowed beneath his fur-lined helm, reflect both devotion and fury, devotion to the Khan who commands him to crush, and fury for every delay that keeps him from Egypt. Behind him trail the spoils of Empire's shattered wagons, chained captives, looted gold, and priests of foreign gods dragged through the dust. The Mongols have destroyed the Abbasid Caliphate, leveled Aleppo, and reduced Damascus to silence. Every fortress that stood before them fell. Every king who resisted was impaled or vanished into legend. The air itself seems to yield before their will. To peasants hiding among olive trees, it feels like the end of the world. Children whisper of the horsemen of the wind, riders who eat no food, sleep no night, and leave no graves. But amid the thunder, Kitbuka remains still. His voice, deep and calm, cuts through the roar of hooves. The Nile awaits. When the Khan drinks from it, the world will be ours. Scouts return from the west, their faces caked in dust. Beyond the Sinai, they report, lies a land ruled by slaves. They call themselves Mamluks. Kitbuka laughs beneath his helmet. Then we will teach them what freedom truly costs. The horde surges forward again, banners snapping in the desert wind, red, black, and white, bearing the falcon of the Khan. Before them lie the dunes of Sinai, shimmering beneath the cruel sun. Beyond them, the last empire yet untouched. And so, the unstoppable storm rides toward Egypt. Summer 1260. CE Cairo, capital of the Mamluk Sultanate. The call to prayer drifts over the city at dawn, a trembling song carried by the wind across minarets and the slow waters of the Nile. But beneath that sacred sound lies something else: fear. The people of Cairo have heard the stories of Baghdad burning, of scholars hanged by their own scrolls, of cities turned to ash under the hooves of the Mongols. And now, rumor whispers that their banners, black with white falcons, are crossing the Sinai. In the citadel, Sultan Saif ad-Din Qutuz stands beside a balcony overlooking the sleeping city. The horizon glows faintly red, the color of both sunrise and warning. He says nothing for a long time. Behind him, armored guards wait, uncertain whether to speak. A door creaks open. Enter Baybars al-Bundukdari, his general once a slave, now the sharpest blade in Egypt's defense. His eyes are quick, calculating, and cold as drawn steel. The Mongols have crossed Gaza, Baybars says. They slaughtered every man who stood. Aleppo, Homs, Damascus all gone. Qutuz turns. His face bears the quiet resolve of a man who knows history is watching. Then it is our turn. The council gathers that night, emirs, generals, and imams under lamplight that flickers across maps of the Levant. The tension is thick enough to taste. Some councils surrender, others speak of exile to Mecca. The Mongols, they say, cannot be defeated. Qutuz listens. Then, with the weight of command in his voice, he declares, "If we flee today, there will be no Egypt tomorrow." He walks to the map, tracing the roads from Gaza to the Jezreel Valley. Here, he says, we will face them in the Valley of Ain Jalut. The room falls silent. No one dares to speak the thought trembling behind every gaze that they would be the first to face the horde, and perhaps the last to live. Outside, the night deepens. In the narrow alleys of Cairo, smiths hammer iron into blades. Women light candles at doorways, praying for their sons. Across the city, war drums begin to echo like distant thunder, slow, deliberate, inevitable. In the palace courtyard, Qutuz looks to the stars, whispering a prayer once spoken by men who had nothing but faith left to hold. We were slaves once, but not tonight. The city does not sleep. Egypt breathes in the shadow of what is coming. Late summer, 1260. CE Cairo's citadel and the desert beyond. The sun rises over Cairo like a furnace. Its light spills across domes and stone, touching the helmets of soldiers gathered in the courtyards below. Thousands of Mamluks stand shoulder to shoulder, men who were once slaves, now forged into warriors by years of brutal training and iron discipline. Their armor glints like hammered gold beneath the desert sun. Lamellar plates bound by leather, turbans wrapped tight against the heat. Horses snort impatiently, their nostrils steaming in the morning air. Across the ranks, the murmured rhythm of prayer drifts words for courage, for victory, for deliverance. At the front rides Sultan Qutuz, his black horse restless beneath him. Beside him, Baybars, eyes sharp and unyielding. The crowd quiets as Qutuz lifts his sword high, the light catching along its curved blade. "Brothers of the sword!" he cries, his voice echoing across the walls. They say the Mongols cannot be stopped. They said the same of pharaohs, of crusaders, of every tyrant who came before them. Yet we still stand because Allah gives strength to the steadfast. A roar rises from the men, fierce, raw, alive. Moments later, messengers arrive from the east, escorted by trembling guards. They wear Mongol silks, marked with the seal of Hulagu Khan. Their leader steps forward and unfurls a letter, the same message delivered to 100 doomed kings before. Submit to the great Khan or be destroyed. The courtyard falls silent. Even the horses seem to hold their breath. Qutuz stares at the messenger for a long time. Then, slowly, he draws his dagger. Without a word, he steps forward and strikes. The man collapses where he stands. The guards drag away the others as the crowd erupts in stunned silence. Qutuz wipes the blade clean and lifts it to the sky. "They have sent us death," he says. "We will return it to them at Ain Jalut." That single act, the execution of the Mongol envoys, seals Egypt's fate. It is no longer a choice between peace and war. It is a vow written in blood. As night falls, the army departs Cairo. Torches flicker like stars across the desert, stretching into the horizon. The rhythmic thunder of hooves becomes the pulse of destiny itself. Women weep quietly at the gates. Children reach out to touch the hems of passing riders. The scent of sweat, dust, and burning pitch fills the air, the smell of a world holding its breath. And somewhere far ahead, beyond the dunes and the silence, the Mongols are waiting. September 1260. CE Jezreel Valley near Mount Gilboa. Dawn bleeds slowly over the hills of Galilee. The sky glows faintly gold, brushing the ridges with firelight, while a thin mist clings to the valley floor. Dew glitters on wild grass, and from the east comes the low, distant hum of an army the Mongols are approaching. In the stillness before the storm, Baybars al-Bundukdari rides along the Mamluk lines, inspecting his men. The cavalry stands silent, their horses restless, steam rising from their nostrils in the cool morning air. Bows are strung, sabers drawn, the metallic whisper of readiness spreading through the ranks. Baybar's gaze sweeps across the terrain. Ain Jalut, the spring of Goliath. A fitting name, he thinks. A narrow plain hemmed by rolling hills and dry riverbeds. It is here, in this crucible of earth and silence, that giants will fall again. He dismounts briefly, kneels beside a patch of dirt, and traces the battle plan with his dagger. A forward line to engage, a false retreat to lure them, and the hidden reserves under Qutuz waiting behind the hills. They will think we flee, he murmurs, and when they pursue, the valley will swallow them. Behind him, the Mamluk drums begin to beat low, steady, and growing faster, like a heartbeat gaining strength. Flags rise in the wind, black with gold calligraphy, green with the crescent of faith. To the north, a dust cloud blooms on the horizon. The Mongols have come. At their head rides Kitbuka Noyan, his armor gleaming with the sheen of conquests past. Around him, the horde moves like a living storm, banners whipping, hooves pounding, the air trembling beneath their advance. He sees the smaller Mamluk force arrayed before him and smiles. They wait in open ground, he tells his lieutenants. Fools. They will die before noon. The Mongols fan out across the plain, arrows already notched, their chants echoing over the wind. The ground vibrates beneath the charge, 1,000 hooves hammering against the heart of Palestine. Baybars rides forward to meet them, arrows darken the sky. The clash begins. The first Mongol volleys slice through air like swarming locusts. Shields splinter, horses scream. The valley erupts in chaos dust, blood, and thunder. Yet the Mamluks hold. Their counter-volley is sharp and disciplined, their lines bending but not breaking. Then Baybars gives the order. The front ranks begin to fall back slowly at first, then faster, as though breaking under pressure. Kitbuka laughs, raising his curved sword high. They flee, ride them down. The Mongol cavalry surges forward, chasing the retreating enemy into the narrowing valley their speed. Once their strength, now their blindfold. The hills close around them. The echo of hooves grows louder, and somewhere unseen, Qutuz waits watching the dust, his hand on the hilt of his sword. The moment is near. Midday, September the 1260, CE Ain Jalut, the Valley of Goliath. The sun stands high above the valley, white and merciless. The air ripples with heat, the scent of sweat and iron thick enough to choke. Below, the Mongol cavalry charges deeper into the gorge, their war cries tearing through the haze. Kitbuka's banners surge forward, red falcons snapping in the wind. His men believe the Mamluks are broken, running in fear. But the valley begins to twist, its slopes rising like walls on both sides. At the far end, Baybars turns in his saddle. His eyes, sharp and calm amid the chaos, meet the signaler on the ridge. He raises his arm and the horns sound. From behind the hills, the silence breaks. A thunder greater than the Mongols' charge erupts as Qutuz's hidden regiments pour into the valley from the flanks. Thousands of Mamluk horsemen descend the slopes like a tide of steel and dust. Now! Qutuz shouts, his voice raw with fury. For Islam! For Egypt! He spurs his horse forward, leaping into the melee with his sword raised high. The Mamluk banners surge behind him, green and gold flashing beneath the burning sun. The Mongols, caught in the funnel of the valley, realize the trap too late. Their formation collapses under the pressure from both sides. Arrows rain down from the ridges. The whine of bowstrings merges with the clash of steel. Baybars rides through the dust, striking left and right, his curved blade slicing through the chaos. His men, trained to fight in silence and precision, encircle the Mongol wings, cutting off escape. The horde, once a perfect machine of conquest, now writhes in confusion. Kitbuka, furious, rallies his guard. Hold the line, die as sons of the Khan. The sound of hooves and screams drowns his words. Qutuz's charge smashes through the center horse against horse, sword against scimitar. For a moment, the world narrows to the blinding glare of the sun, the ringing of metal, and the cries of men who know there is no retreat. Dust fills the valley like smoke. The ground is littered with broken spears, torn banners, and the fallen. And yet, amid the chaos, something shifts. The Mongol right wing begins to crumble. Baybars spots it instantly. Press them! Don't let them breathe! The Mamluks close the circle tighter. Mongol archers, their quivers nearly empty, switch to sabers and fight hand to hand. Their cries of defiance echo against the hills, fierce, desperate, and proud. But the trap is complete. Kitbuka's army, once unstoppable from the steppes of Asia to the gates of Damascus, is now encircled in a valley named for giants, and like Goliath, they are about to fall. The dust swirls thick as storm clouds. Through the haze, Qutuz raises his sword again, its blade shining like a beacon. Strike! Break them! The Mamluks roar as one, and in that single moment, slave and sultan, warrior and freedman all charge together, thundering toward immortality. Afternoon, September 1260, CE Ain Jalut. The sun begins to sink, its light bleeding across the valley in streaks of crimson and dust. The thunder of hooves has softened to chaos, scattered cries, the clash of metal, the groan of the dying. The once proud Mongol banners now hang torn and trampled in the mud. At the heart of the battlefield, Kitbuka Noyan still fights. His armor is cracked, his sword chipped, his horse foaming at the mouth. Around him lie the bodies of his guards, cut down one by one. Yet his posture remains unbroken, a warrior of the steppes who knows no surrender. He drives his blade through a Mamluk lancer, turns, and blocks another strike. The air hums with heat and death. His men shout their last in tongues from half the known world, Turkic, Mongol, Persian, a chorus fading into the dust. From the ridge above, Baybars watches the enemy's core collapsing. He rides down through the haze, his horse pounding over the fallen. The sound of the Mamluk horns fills the valley once more, not as a call to battle, but as a dirge. Qutuz appears through the smoke, his armor streaked with blood, his eyes aflame with grim triumph. He halts before Kitbuka, whose men have been cut to pieces. The Mongol general, dismounted and surrounded, lowers his sword slowly, not in surrender, but in defiance. Qutuz, it is over. Lay down your arms. Kitbuka, smiling faintly. You think this ends with me? I am the wrath of the Khan. Slay me, and the storm will return. The two men lock eyes, soldier to soldier, destiny to destiny. Around them, the wind carries the smell of iron and smoke. Qutuz dismounts. He steps closer, studying the enemy who has terrified the world for a generation. Qutuz, no storm lasts forever. With a final bow of his head, Kitbuka stands tall. He does not kneel. A single blade flashes, and the last Mongol commander in Syria falls. Silence. Only the whisper of the wind through the reeds. The surviving Mongols scatter into the hills, their horses broken, their banners lost. For the first time in history, the horde, the army that no wall, no kingdom, no god had stopped, is defeated in open battle. Baybars exhales, disbelief etched on his face. We have done what no one dared. Qutuz lifts his sword to the setting sun, then let the world know Egypt stands. The valley lies quiet once more, littered with the remains of an empire's pride. The spring of Goliath has drunk deeply again. Autumn 1260, CE, Cairo, Damascus, and beyond. Weeks pass, the Valley of Ain Jalut grows still again. Its grass is rising where the fallen once lay. The carrion birds are gone, the air smells of rain, and the whisper of the wind carries only memory. But from that quiet place, the echo of victory spreads like ripples across the world. In Cairo, the city bursts into life. Bells and drums thunder through the streets as Mamluk riders return weary, blood-stained but unbroken. The people flood the roads to meet them, shouting prayers and weeping tears of disbelief. From rooftops and markets, cries rise into the sky. The Mongols have fallen. Ain Jalut is ours. In the citadel, Sultan Qutuz stands before his men. He does not smile. He removes his helm slowly, looking out over the city that still stands because they refuse to kneel. You have not only saved Egypt, he tells them, his voice hoarse. You have saved the world from fire. Behind him, Baybars bows silent, proud. his armor still bearing the marks of the valley. The two men share a look that needs no words. They both know this victory will not end war, but it has ended fear. Far to the east, in the plains of the Mongol Empire, news of Ain Jalut reaches Hulagu Khan. He sits in his tent, listening as the messenger kneels and delivers the report, the defeat, the death of Kitbuka, the shattered banners. The silence that follows is heavier than steel. For the first time, the empire built on terror feels the weight of mortality. And in the west, in Constantinople, Rome, and the fortresses of the Crusader states, the impossible has happened. The unstoppable horsemen have been stopped. Chroniclers will write of the battle in awe and confusion. Some will call it divine providence. Others, the revenge of the enslaved. Centuries later, historians will still marvel at the irony that the greatest empire of its age was halted not by kings or dynasties, but by men who were once property soldiers forged from bondage into brotherhood. As dusk falls over Cairo, the camera lingers on the citadel's ramparts. Qutuz stands alone beneath the sky, the wind tugging at his cloak. The call to evening prayer rises once more over the city he saved. Below him, torches flicker like stars across the streets. Above him, the first true peace in decades spreads its wings. And somewhere far to the north, the Valley of Ain Jalut lies silent, a scar upon the earth, and a reminder to all who conquer. No empire, no matter how vast, is beyond defeat.